Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of the Neo Marketing Podcast. I'm here today with Joe Hendrix from Mariner Wealth, which is personal wealth management. We're going to talk today specifically about what that means to people who are own businesses or entrepreneurs or have other investments. Welcome to the weekly Neo Marketing Podcast, featuring one half of the Golden Group C-Suite, Kyle Golding, and Chris Pritchard, APR, PRSA Fellow. So good to see you this morning, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
So tell the folks a little bit about Mariner and what you do there.
Yeah, essentially it's financial life management. So think about all the different angles and facets of your own financial life. Our job is to help put those together. Generally it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle where the shapes are shifting every day. So kind of we help put that all together.
It's a moving target.
It is, yeah. And I usually tell clients, we put a financial plan together. It's wrong. I mean, we're using assumptions, projecting things out for 40 years, but it's a compass.
We tell people the same thing about marketing and business plans is we write it for room for adjustment.
Yes, absolutely. And you always just monitor it. So if you think about the places and the areas of someone's financial life, and kind of the main themes, one is cash flow management. So helping people, depending on where they're at in their stage of life, whether they're growing their business or planning to sell it, or they've sold it and now they need to make sure they have enough to live off of. It's really kind of revolving around cash flow. Alternatively, it's what to do with your savings. So hopefully if you have a successful enough business and you're able to distribute out to yourself and enjoy the fruits of your labor, it's then how do you invest this? How do you get this money working for you?
We say also the point of business is profit. So what do you do with that profit?
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to have that. And so, and then probably one of the bigger components, I think, especially for entrepreneurs, that is often overlooked is estate planning. The basics are a will, a trust, powers of attorney, advance directives. I mean, pretty much everybody's going to need those. With the exception of the trust. That's not. I don't think everybody needs one of those, but will, power of attorney, advance directives. If you're living, breathing, you need it.
For sure,
got to do it.
If you're an adult,
if you're an adult with a job and a family, you need to get those done. But one that I think a lot of people overlook, especially if you're in a business with partners or other owners, is buy-sell agreements. I think that, so what that is essentially is if something happens, say you own a partnership 50-50 with somebody, and it's an agreement that you both enter into where you say if something happens to one of us, we pass away or we get ill, we need to leave the business, we're going to agree upon what the value is of the business ahead of time. So how much do I need to pay to buy you out? Or if something happens to you, life insurance, where I'm going to own life insurance on you, and that way I'll have liquidity to buy you out to pay your wife, pay your kids, or pay your husband, if who's going to be owning that once you pass away. So that's one that we just see a lot. That's an area that's often overlooked.
And that's something that has to be done before you get into a bad situation, much like crisis management for what we do for our clients. You can't wait till the crisis happens and then figure out what to do.
Yeah.
You have to have a plan in place beforehand, working with your professionals, and kind of taking a lot of the pressure and stress and emotions out of it too, and really just getting down to business. Right?
Yeah, it's that proactive planning that I think is so important.
Plus having a third-party individual who can be unbiased, who can really kind of make sure everything is fair for everyone. Just based on business, business and numbers, and not, I work harder than you, or like I have the better ideas than you.
Yeah. Well, it's just building a plan where both parties, or however many parties, probably more than two, can agree to it. But also you have somebody that's objective. They have no emotion. They're just looking, here's what it is. Here's some alternatives that work.
That's the role we play a lot with when we go into businesses. We tell people like we're the folks who can tell you the truth because we don't have to sit across from you in the lunchroom every day.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't have to play nice.
Right. It is what it is. Business is business and personal is personal.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
So something that people ask me all the time, and I know just enough to be dangerous, but I think you'll do a much better job of explaining.
Sure.
From a business owner, an entrepreneur, or maybe someone who owns shares or percentages of companies or has a portfolio of things that they own, what are the differences tax advantage wise between S-Corps, C-Corps, and any other kind of configurations of?
Sure, yeah. The third I would throw in there too would be an LLC.
Right.
We see that quite a bit. So the big kind of distinction between C-Corps and the others is the way that the money's taxed. So C-Corps are their own entity. Essentially, it stands alone from the owners in a sense from who pays the tax. So all the earnings that are generated by the C-Corp are going to be taxed at the C-Corp level. And should they distribute those earnings out to the owners, those earnings will be taxed.
So that corporate level, though, that's changing now, right?
Because it is,
taxed, right?
It's 21% flat rate effective January 1st of this year until 2026. And so there's been a lot of conversations with people about, well, if I have an S-Corp, which the income flows through. So I only pay one level of tax on that. Does it make sense to go to a C-Corp now? Because I could potentially pay a lower amount of tax. Well, that answer it's all facts and circumstances. I think my guidance generally is don't make that decision lightly. Go through the process, really factor in, project out earnings, project out what you're going to need to do with those earnings, and make sure does conversion make sense. There's a lot of strings attached with the conversion. I think that it's just one of those that I don't think that it's a decision you have to make tomorrow or the next day. You've got time to make it. There are some minutia deadlines if you want to retroactively make it to the beginning of the year, but we'll skip that for today. I don't think we need to get to that level.
Something complicated like this that, and we're talking about taxes, economics, liabilities, legalities.
Sure.
You definitely want to work with an expert on this.
Absolutely.
Because the rules are changing every day, right?
Yeah.
So us business owners, we can't keep up with the rules like you guys, because
Build
that's your
team.
job, right?
Yeah, have your team in place. I mean, I think engage with a good CPA who is planning focused, not somebody who just wants to do your return, and not
just a bookkeeper.
I mean, there's a lot of great CPAs out there, and that's where I am a CPA, and I started my career in public accounting. I don't sign the tax returns anymore, but Mariner does, and we have resources to help with that. But find somebody that wants to help you. If you're looking at, okay, I want to evaluate my business structure, find somebody that's going to go through that with you and really put the time and invest the time. You're going to have to pay for that time, but pay for it. It's worth it.
It's worth it
to
in
make
the
sure,
end.
because S-Corps and LLCs, all that income flows out and you pay tax on it on your personal return.
This is also why this conversation is completely different when we're talking about entrepreneurs and business owners, as opposed to your average individuals who, a married couple who both have day jobs.
Sure.
And they're paying, income tax on their paychecks.
Sure.
And taking it out.
Yeah.
They're filing at the end of the year, getting refund or not.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
There's tax credits for kids and things like that.
Yeah.
But when you own businesses, you own stocks, you own portions of things, it can get really complicated.
It can, and it can go wrong quickly too if you don't do things the right way. If you get into a trouble payroll tax issue, or you get into sales tax issues, or just general income tax, you do something the wrong way, it usually takes a couple of years before that gets found out about. If you have a couple years worth of returns you filed, well, that number can compound on itself really quickly.
I'm kind of a handy guy. I like to build things. I build furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
But I tell people the two things I don't do around the house that I hire professionals for is plumbing and electrical.
Yeah.
Because if you're 99% right, you can have a catastrophe.
Yes.
So there are certain things in the world, and on the business side, I definitely tell people, great legal team, great financial team. Your marketing team, you can be a little flexible with. Your employees, your HR, even you can kind of find things that fit. But when it comes to things that are legal and binding, and like you said, can go from like a little problem to a huge problem overnight, it's something that can literally, potentially, the sheriff could show up and lock your doors.
Completely derail you.
You can't take shortcuts. You can't half-ass it.
Yeah.
And you can't definitely can't take lowest bidder.
Sure, absolutely.
You take lowest bidder on, who wants to paint your house, but you do not do that on taxes,
your livelihood,
legalities, etc. Right, exactly.
Well, and I would say to add on next, I think all those are great points, is assemble your team and delegate to your team. Allow your team to work and have a board meeting. Have your personal financial life board meeting with your team. Once a year. Have a time, an hour or two over lunch with your CPA, your attorney, your wealth advisor, your banker if you have one, if you have a good relationship there. And make sure they know each other, and because the only person that's going to win out of that is you. I mean, the outcome's going to be better for you if you allow the team to work together.
And ultimately, you are the client; they're working for you.
Sure.
Their job is to help guide you, but also make things happen the way that you would like them to. Some people want to be very aggressive. Some people want to be very safe. That communication though has to happen. If you don't tell your financial team, your legal team, what you want to do and what you're trying to achieve, they can't achieve it for you.
Absolutely. I view it as kind of how I evaluate myself and grade my own self on helping clients is if a client's surprised by something, then I probably haven't done my job very well. And so building that structure and that infrastructure of the team, that helps avoid surprises. And I mentioned it earlier, but proactive planning that's how you get results that are successful and everybody wins.
And for all you entrepreneurs out here, I'm going to lump myself into this because I'm the same way. We think we know what's going on. We're kind of, we're aggressive and stubborn sometimes, and we're very confident in ourselves. That's how we become entrepreneurs. But we need to stop and listen to things like this. This is why I don't do my own plumbing and electrical, and I don't do my own taxes either. And I listen to experts in fields like this. So you guys, this is why we're talking with Joe today and talking about what Mariner Wealth does. And I'm sure there are plenty of other options you guys to look at. But always work with professionals and build a team, like Joe is saying, people who are very specific in what they do, because we don't know everything. We think we do as entrepreneurs, but we have to, we hire good people to work for us. Yeah. This is another example of hiring good people to work for us, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you so much for the insight, Joe. Appreciate it very much. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the New Marketing Podcast.